Before we begin, I want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creatives and curious people. There are classes on animation, graphic design, illustration, and photography, just to name a few, so whether you're looking to hone in on an existing skill or learn something entirely new, Skillshare is the place to get lost in your own creativity. Something I've been wanting to dive into more lately is drawing and designing my own characters, so I'm really interested in the class Character Illustration, Drawing Faces, Figures, and Clothing by Gabriel Piccolo. It's a class all about creating characters that are full of expression, movement, and personality. The first 1,000 people to click the link in my description will get a free trial of Skillshare's premium membership, and after that it's just $10 a month annually. There are no ads, and new premium classes are always being added so you can find your next creative endeavor. Thanks again, Skillshare, and now let's get into the video. Hey everyone, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I tried out glass painting for the first time. It didn't turn out perfectly, but overall I'm happy with it, and I thought it'd be fun to film the process for you guys. Also, shout out to all the people on TikTok who've been making these lately, and also to my friend Jessica, who made one of these that looks so cool that I wanted to try it myself. So let's start by going over the materials that I will be using. First, I used a bunch of really affordable acrylic paints and paintbrushes that are both from Michaels, along with a super simple paint palette to mix them on. For the black marker I used for the outline, I bought these Flymax paint markers in size 0.7. I will be using this outline that I drew on my iPad. Before printing your outline, you actually want to reverse the image. It's really important so that the image shows up in the correct orientation when you flip the glass around. And I also recommend making the outline in any color that's not black, because then when you're outlining the glass in black, you can see which parts you've done already and which parts you still need to do because they'll be in a different color. Of course, you need a piece of glass to do your painting on. I will link the ones that I used down below. They were packaged nicely and protected well so that they wouldn't break while shipping to me. I also used an X-Acto knife throughout the process to scrape off any mistakes off the glass, which is really handy, and some washi tape to keep the glass in place while drawing the outline. And the last thing before getting started, I also created a little map on a printout of the image, and what this has is kind of a map of the order that I would paint each section of the drawing. So the painting process here is done in layers, starting with the smallest section first, and that's where I put the number 1, and then once those are painted in several layers, you can move on to the bigger sections. So don't worry about this too much yet, it'll make more sense when I show you how to paint it. The first step is to draw the outline. So really my only tip with this part is to start in the very top left if you're right-handed, or in the top right if you're left-handed, so that you don't smudge the pen as you move your hand when you're drawing. These particular pens that I'm using do dry really quickly, but you have to give it a few seconds, so if you rub your hand on it immediately, it probably will smudge. On the top left part of this circle, the line that I did was really wonky, so here I am using the X-Acto knife to scratch off the first try and try again. It didn't end up being perfect, but I think it'll do. So here is the completed outline, and I flipped it around so you guys can see what it looks like facing the way that I had intended. So then we start painting. So for the first few colors and sections I did here, I was not doing this the correct way or like method of painting for these glass paintings. I was doing kind of longish strokes like I'd normally do if I was painting something, but for this process you want to make sure that you're doing a very quick stippling method of strokes instead. So you don't want to drag the paint around, you kind of just want to place it and then go to another spot and then repeat. And the reason for this is because if you drag the paint while you're right on top of one of the black outlines, it will somehow drag the black with it and then it'll kind of lose the outline. So that's what happened to me with the lines on Appa's nose. Luckily that part I used a dark color, so it's a little harder to notice, but after that I started doing a stippling motion with the paint strokes instead, and all of the outlines were fine after that. The next thing I want to mention is because this is a glass painting, you're gonna have to do at least 2 to 4 layers of paint on each section. That amount of layers worked best for me, at least, so that the color looks opaque when you flip it around. And also wait until it's dry every time before doing another layer. You can't really see in the video, but for most of the process I'm holding the glass up slightly with my left hand so it's not flat on the surface of my desk, and that helps with being able to see any spots where the light is peeking through so that you can fill it when you're adding layers of paint. and that is my finished product. So yeah, I'm overall pretty happy with it. I hope this video helps any of you who have wanted to make one, or maybe you're just seeing this for the first time. If you end up making one, I would love to see it. Please tag me on Instagram. To catch my next video, make sure to subscribe down below. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!